Hello everyone and welcome back to the Hey Paul podcast. We've been gone a while, but we're back. All new cast, all new topics. Today we are talking about games we're excited for in June. I am your host today, the deputy editor of HeyPaulPlayer.com, Jonathan Trussler, and you can follow me on JTizzlefish. And joining us here today we have Francis.
Hey everybody, I'm the editor-in-chief of HeyPaulPlayer.com.
Okay, and we also have John.
Hello, I'm John, staff writer, Dog's Body, just general writer, I guess. Hello.
Right, very official there, John, as always. We have Dougie.
Hi, I'm Dougie. I am a contributor at Hey Paul Player.
Okay, and Anthony.
Hey, I'm Anthony. I'm the resident manga reviewer, and I'm also behind the column 8-Bit Chronicles.
Okay, and joining us here today, we have a relatively new contributor, Christian.
Hi, I'm Christian Angelis, and I'm a new contributor, as you said, and I'm happy to join the team. Yay.
We're happy to have you.
All right, well we'll get your... We're getting your monogrammed coffee mug ready for you. just wait. Okay, so first up, we have The Last of Us Part 2. This is a hugely anticipated game. I know there's been some spoilers leaked recently, which we will be avoiding, just to be clear, by a disgruntled employee. But hopefully this won't undermine anyone's enjoyment.
Actually, I think they said it was something else.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forget. They updated that and said it was something else. I don't remember exactly.
Okay. John, please, have you been keeping up to date?
Yeah, so I don't think it actually was a disgruntled employee. I think it was a hack, actually. Someone actually hacked Naughty Dog and stole all their shit and then distributed it on the internet. Oh dear, I swore.
Was it Naughty Dog or was it Sony? I heard it was Sony.
I was like 2 minutes in. I don't know how long.
Yeah, I know.
Already demonetized.
Didn't last
You
very long.
can't say the word. If you say the word, you just immediately the word it happens. It's like Beetlejuice. If you say the word in your videos, then it happens.
Okay, but anyway, yeah, they got a lot of stuff stolen. It was either Naughty Dog or Sony, either or. It wasn't a disgruntled ex-employee. That was the initial rumor, right? And then either it was either Sony or Naughty Dog, and they got off with a trove of footage that got leaked all over the internet, which I haven't seen any of actually, because I was pretty frustrated about that. But here's what I think, right? I'm excited, but I'm really nervous at the same time, because I've said for a while that in 2013, when I actually played The Last of Us on PlayStation 3, it's probably one of the best narrative-driven games I've ever played on console. It was such a powerful, emotional story, and the way it ended, I kind of felt, what was the point? There's no need to do a sequel, right? And then, the folks at Naughty Dog said, listen, right, we're doing a sequel. I'm like, okay, like, I'm excited to see a little bit more of the story in that universe, that setting, and exploring, like, some more of the dark themes that they explored in the original. But, my God, like, why do you need to follow up that ending? It was brilliant.
You didn't want it to feel forced.
Yeah, exactly. Because I kind of felt that they ended it really nice ambiguous ending about, just wrapped it up really nicely. And I just felt there's just no need to kind of go into that universe again. There's no need to expand on it. And I mean, if anyone could pull it off, from a narrative point of view, it's going to be those guys. At Naughty Dog, they've done some great, narrative-driven games, but I'm nervous a little bit.
Can I reply to your comment?
Sure. Yeah.
So I agree. For me, Last of Us is my favorite game of all time, and it was really just purely the narrative-driven story. Especially as a screenwriter myself, I thought, wow, they did things that you never thought you could do in video games. That was basically like watching a movie, except you control the characters. But ever since that game happened, that entire Naughty Dog as a company kind of blew up, and a lot of that was due and thanks to Neil Druckmann, the creative director of The Last of Us, who then became creative director of all of Naughty Dog. So I think depending on what happens with this game, a lot of it kind of falls on his shoulders in terms of the narrative story play and in terms of like whether this is a success or not. Now, I know that a lot of people were disgruntled with the company as of late, and I think that a lot of their original crew, minus some of the original head developers, had left. A large reason being that apparently Druckmann's taken this to be his like magnus opus sequel to what was his like masterpiece, which was The Last of Us. So doing video game development at the age of like 25, early 20s, you can do 16-hour days, you can do long things and make a perfect product, but you're talking about people who've been doing this into their early 30s now as compared to when they were younger, and they have families, they have responsibilities.
Right.
So that said, it's very stressful to get this done. There was a lot of disgruntled employees. There was just a lot of drama behind the scenes.
Well, there's been a
so I don't know if this is going to be...
isn't there?
It's
Naughty Dog.
Exactly, and a lot of that falls again on Druckmann, especially because now they have an HBO TV series too. So you have this director who's become larger than life. You have the sequel to this massive product. This is a recipe either for a really great game or really terrible.
Do you not think it's symptomatic of an issue in the wider gaming industry in the sense that not just seeing these sort of issues in organisations like Naughty Dog, Rockstar have got a similar kind of issue, crunch culture as it were. It's a bit
I heard a lot of
atmosphere.
Yeah,
I heard a lot of complaints about the houses, how they're just utterly work obsessed and they sort of slave drive everyone at Rockstar a bit. When it comes to crunch time.
Well, Red Dead Redemption 2 was very much renowned for that sort of culture, and it became somewhat prevalent. And the same with Anthem, right? Over BioWare. BioWare got quite a rap. I think it's Jason Schreier, isn't it? Fantastic journalist actually for Kotaku, who did the expose on all of those organisations that we just talked about. But it's a symptom of a wider issue. The more money that gets put into video games, the more shareholders that get involved, the more pressure it is to deliver the next big masterpiece. And I think, like you were talking about, like this weight of expectation is now on Druckmann to deliver, something that tops his first masterpiece. And I just can't imagine that weight of expectation on one human being and then dispensing that to your wider team. How can you possibly even cope with that? Really, I mean, Chris,
it's almost kind of like a badge of honor, like this crunch time culture thing, isn't it? We worked ourselves half to death to make this game. I mean, some people take like a perverse pride in that, but there's kind of a problem with taking a pride in that because it kind of puts this stigma on others that they have to kind of work themselves half to death as well. Like that's an expected.
How do you combat that?
Well, that's the thing is with every grand release like this, when a company sees that they can do that and they can release a game as jaw-droppingly amazing as Red Dead Redemption 2, which was met with such critical acclaim, sales are through the roof. They're not going to accept anything less than that next time,
But that's impossible to sustain, because
exactly.
you can definitely hit magic, but to have to do it again and again.
Right.
But,
and it's gonna be a miracle to find talented artists who were there the first time who want to actually do that again and totally remove themselves from their families and their social lives and their well-being. So it's a slippery slope, and I don't think it's sustainable.
Well,
what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I can just make a quick point. It's when somebody really kind of establishes themselves working on a big project like that, they'll think, well, next time I don't want to work like 80-hour weeks or something and like kill myself because like I'm established enough. I shouldn't have to go through that again. But what they're going to do, they're just going to bring on a bunch of kids who are just desperate for the opportunity. Then they're going to work them half to death.
It's funny that you say that because I heard that was an issue with this game. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But how do you combat that? I mean, consumers really probably have to vote with their wallet, but despite the fact
it's so difficult to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I abhor that sort of culture within the business, I'm definitely going to buy the game.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like it's kind of not POS for saying that, but.
And again, I mean, like you want to reward the staff, especially the ones who actually see a part of revenue sharing for when games hit milestones on Metacritic and things like that. So you want to reward them, but at the same time, you don't want to encourage that kind of corporate behavior. It's tough. It really is.
I feel like there's not a lot.
Okay,
there's not a lot of gameplay or anything to talk about really because we don't know anything, about the game. And
Without
about
spoiling
what it's going
it.
to entail. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
could go onto Google and find a half-an-hour video.
From the
but I
trailer,
won't, so-
though, the trailer looked amazing. This is my first time actually watching it in full because I've been avoiding every sort of spoiler, and yeah, it looks incredible.
That's the thing, you see, because like I've been avoiding everything just in case I see the leak stuff, which I really do not want to see, which means I might be a little bit underinformed in this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you think? What kind of improvements do you think they're going to be making? 2020 versus 2013. What will change? Do you think?
Well, I saw. So I saw from a gameplay reveal because I did done another video, an 8-minute gameplay reveal, and you obviously control Ellie in this one as opposed to Joel. And Druckmann made a point of distinguishing their characteristics significantly. So in the first one, Joel was a guy that just became very good at killing, right? Because that became part of his identity, surviving in the post-pandemic world. Eerie, and Ellie's a lot smaller. She doesn't weigh as much. She's a lot more nimble, a lot more agile, better with the bow, and they've like put that she can go prone in this one. There's a lot more emphasis on using cover and actually physically fleeing from fights as well. That Ellie feels like, you as Ellie feel like you can't actually, take on. So there's certainly from that point of view a few gameplay adjustments. Crafting is back as well, and that seems to be a little bit more, I guess, expanded than on the original, which I thought was a good crafting system. Anyway, it's really, really basic. You don't really need anything too fancy, like in a full-blown RPG. But no, pleased to see that come back. Pleased to see that you can get traps.
That's what I liked. That's one of the things I really liked about Last of Us. It kept the UI to an absolute minimum. In the style. If you like your Ico or your Shadow of Colossus. I mean, like, the more kind of, the HUD, the UI, the radar, the more of that kind of crap is on, the corners of your screen, the more that could potentially undermine the immersion. Some games it's appropriate, but for this kind of more sort of cinematic type of game that really wants to immerse you in the drama, you want to keep that kind of thing down to a minimum. So I really liked how they kept the crafting fairly straightforward.
Yeah, no, so I'm tentative, like I say, I think either way it's going to be a good story, right? Naughty Dog have not really been pretty good with story-driven games, to be perfectly honest, pretty good. So I think either way it's going to be decent. I'm looking forward to playing it.
What I'm looking forward to seeing is how they redo some of the locations and the geography, because one of the things I loved about the original was they did like a what happens if you see Boston like abandoned for 20 years and just let nature reclaim it. I'm curious to see what design choices they make for this one coming up.
Yeah, that was one thing I liked is when you first get to the neighborhood occupied by the bandits and you see like the trees growing through the houses and everything.
Yeah.
And, like, it's like nature's reclaiming the land. It looked awesome. It looked really cool.
And they did a lot of research
that is
on
one. That is one thing that kind of bothered me sometimes about like Fallout 3 and 4, for example. I mean, you walk into a place and you find like 200-year-old can of beans. I mean, after 200 years, either that's going to have gone a bit funny or someone's going to have
oxidation's a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they put a lot of and like some of those landscapes didn't look like they'd just been left alone and reclaimed by nature for 200 years. But yeah, they did a really amazing job. I remember that one scene where they were just in the city. And what were they, giraffes or something?
It's once you get out of that large vista. I think it was a museum or something you were at. I can't recall. It's been almost 10 years.
Yeah, and you could tell they had really put effort into sort of making it sort of look like a city realistically would if it had just been abandoned. Nature reclaimed.
Reminds me of the end of Final Fantasy VII.
Oh.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Well, does anyone else have anything they want to talk about The Last of Us Part 2?
I'm looking forward to it. Contrary to what you guys think.
I'm probably going to be waiting on it for a bit. I'm think I might want to replay the first one for a bit, because I remember I played through the first one and I got to the end. I'm like, well, that was fine, and just kind of I think I traded in a couple months later.
Just a heads up, listeners, I'm going to be covering this game so much. I'm going to have so many articles for us.
That's all you have to say about
Just
that.
every single detail you can imagine.
Looking forward to them.
Okay, let me set the stage for you. So I think it was earlier this spring, and there was around 3 or 4 p.m., and I just logged back on my computer, and I just found out in the span of 1 minute that not only was there a Kickstarter for this project or this remaster, but that it already had been funded. And that was a kind of a huge shock, because they've been teasing about this project for about, because I think there was a promotional image they teased about for like about a year and a half, and then just to kind of find out that this niche ass game for Wii U just got funded, bombed at retail, just got funded, had over I think it was over $100,000 dollars. It already hit the goal in less than an hour, and that was. That's probably my biggest shock of the year. I still can't believe this is real. It's very funny that some of you just said that you don't know what you just watched, because the thing is in interviews they feel like that one of the reasons why the game didn't do so at retail is because they just had difficulty kind of explaining or just kind of conveying what the game was or what it was about, and that's something they wanted to kind of fix. And so now, because you just said that, I don't know if they succeeded.
I feel like what I've just watched is someone throwing confetti in my face constantly.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm sorry.
That's usually what happens to you on a Saturday night, John.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
okay.
What is this?
It's a much cleaner way of getting confetti thrown in your face.
That was pretty brutal. So as it happens, in my top 25 Nintendo games of the decade list I wrote earlier this year, this was number 24. And I guess you could say, so this is directed by Hideki Kamiya, who did Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, Beautiful Joe, all the good stuff. And the thing is, with his video games, it's more with action games. It's kind of more like they're not really designed for one and done deals. They're more like games that you kind of chew on, and you play more than once. You improve you kind of improve yourself, and you're like, oh, okay, so I can play this way with these mechanics, or I can keep doing this way. And so with this game in particular, it's that you basically control an army of superheroes. It's like a covert operation, and what you do is each superhero can morph. Each band of superheroes can morph together in different shapes. So there's Unite Punch, there's Unite Gun, there's Unite Sword, and so you can combo those into each other. And so it's you can you'll punch a robot, and then you'll fling it up with a sword, and then you'll whip it around, and then you'll shoot it down, and it just feels really. It's extremely dense game, because I think I played at least 50 hours on my Wii U, and I basically just kept improving myself again and again and again. And there was always just and the thing is it just keeps going deeper and deeper into finding extra heroes to join your team, or Bayonetta cameos, or stuff like that. And so if you played Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, this has the DNA inside of it, but there is a lot going on. So, and the thing is, as I recall, the original game wasn't always the best at kind of explaining what it was you were doing. Because I remember you had to buy the guard, the reflect option, or the dodge option from the store before you could actually do that in game. So that was always one thing that tripped people up. I remember there was a demo in the Wii U that was kind of well, this is just kind of weird. So I would say, just if you're still kind of going what is this? I'd say just read into it. Just kind of read the interviews, because they're really passionate about bringing this back, and I want to help. I want to see it help it succeed.
Okay. Anyone else got any thoughts about it?
Well, I missed it on the Wii U because while I'm a big fan of Kamiya's work, and I really did enjoy Bayonetta tremendously, I think Bayonetta 2 was one of the best games on the Wii U. Something about the Wonderful 101 just didn't quite resonate with me. But after hearing you talk about it, and especially with the unlockable abilities and everything, because that actually is a big part of Bayonetta, that actually makes it sound a little more appealing to me, because I like to grind into the guts of the games and try to unlock as much stuff as I can.
It really is like Bayonetta, because it's like how Bayonetta, you can traverse backwards, you'll find fighting arenas and all that.
Exactly.
And, so there's stuff like that and all that, and then so I would say just look into it, see if it's your thing, and because the thing is, what's really generous about this release is that it's multi-platform, because originally it was a Nintendo IP, and I think they worked something out with the company to have it released on. I think it's on PS4.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think Xbox.
No, PC.
Yes, it's on PC right now, I believe.
Well, hopefully it gets a shot it deserves this time around. It looks pretty
Yeah,
good.
I hope so. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Anyone else fed up of remakes or remasters? Like,
never.
not to piss. Sorry, not to take the wind out your sails, but it's another remake, isn't it?
Yeah.
We just have so many of them. It's like I saw another one. This is not a game we're covering, but it's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remastered.
God, I
Sure.
forgot he even existed. And then I saw and I was like, oh yeah, he was.
So did the rest of the world.
I mean, sick game, right? When I was like, 10 years old.
Yeah.
But like, it's just another remake, and it's just like, I think what's being replicated in Hollywood is being replicated in video games, right?
Right.
I kind of want to do a tally count by the end of the year, seeing how many remakes were made in 2020.
Honestly, I think I'm gonna cry. I think I'm going to cry.
Oh, honey.
So there's no game that you're dying to see
I don't
remade,
mind.
John?
What's that?
Hang on. Hang on. I had a point before I forget it. I'm such an old man. I might forget it.
Same age as me, John.
What I dislike, about remakes is not so much the remakes themselves. I'm fine if people want to kind of remake a game, add a new twist, add a new spin to it, or just have it in higher fidelity or whatever. Add the content that wasn't able to be added to the first one. I'm fine with that. What does worry me is the idea that people are just running out of ideas and they can't make something new that's just as good as the original, and that's what kind of worried me about Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's like, let's be honest, the quality's not been that consistent since 10.
It is extreme.
Who is most excited about this one?
That would be me.
Talk about it.
Really?
So,
Talk about it now.
East Memories of
Do it.
East Memories
What?
of South.
Stop interrupting him.
Jesus Christ.
Ease.
Yeast.
Yeast.
Right, a yeast infection. Got it.
Wow.
Talk about yeast infection. Sorry. Yeah, this is gonna do that. Monetization bingo.
Look at him, he's done. Look at
Sensitive topics.
Sorry.
Oh, honey.
Oh god. No.
Whoa. Dark. For the listeners that can't see what's happening, Francis has shot himself.
You made me go full fucking
Yeah.
Bud Dwyer.
I'm sorry, honey.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, that's definitely demonetization territory. Fucking hell. Oh, so is that.
We can swear now because we're definitely demonetized. So.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
So, honey.
Okay,
When you're ready.
darling.
Oh, you're going to talk about yeast then.
Go.
So,
I will mute.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, everyone who isn't Francis, shut the fuck up.
I like the ring of that. So, East Memories of Salsetta, originally released on the PlayStation Vita in 2013, and it's a fantastic entry in Nihon Falcom's long-running action RPG series. It stars Adol Christian, the fiery-haired swordsman, as he explores the island of Salsetta with his companions, and it is a fantastic game. Being released on the Vita, it didn't quite get the attention that it really deserves. I'm really happy to see it releasing on the PlayStation 4 on June 9th. It doesn't have a whole host of new updates going on. It's the standard fare that you'd expect. 60 frames per second, HD visuals, stuff like that, dual audio tracks. It's a pretty... It doesn't seem like it's the most ambitious remake out there, but I'm really just looking forward to the chance to play it on my 86-inch TV and not be confined to the Vita's small screen and just play it all over again. It was a really, really fun adventure, and I'm really happy that more people will finally get a chance to experience it.
A little bit of flexing about the size of your TV.
Humble brag.
My 86
yeah,
inch
I've got
TV.
86 inch TV.
Oh, it barely fits in the wall.
I want to
Oh.
reinforce the wall.
You got a pretty big TV there yourself. For people who can't see, John's got a massive, great telly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looming behind him.
I need to
It's an
move that
84.
actually. Yeah.
86. Those two are the best inches that you left out, sir.
Well,
Man,
don't break your arms lifting that massive TV, all right?
No, I need to move it. I need to move it. It's a long story. Like your listeners won't care about my home DIY issues.
No, please tell us about your DIY. This is the kind of shit people need to know.
Well, listeners really need to know about DIY, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, don't worry. I'm not going to regale you with the details.
But did any
might
of you
be
guys
some-
play
okay.
East Memories of Celceta? Probably not, because I'm cooler. But
Or just
No.
have any thoughts about the East series in general?
I've
looked at the
been a big
trailer.
fan of the originals since the PC Engine versions, so I'm really looking forward to playing it.
I looked at
Francis
the.
is dating himself there.
I am old, I am ancient, but only like 2 years more ancient than you.
Yeah.
So.
Free, I think. But...
I don't think I have to say it's like I didn't really get much from the trailer. It didn't really give me much. But then I think that game was the trailer for that game was specifically made for people who have played that game before, right?
Right,
I mean,
correct.
it's obvious. Like it's not, it didn't really do anything to draw me in. What I will say is yet another remake. Yeah.
Oh. It's
Yeah,
a bit of a
it is another,
well, you
but
say.
I do like-
Hang on. You say there's nothing to draw you in, like as someone not familiar. But that music in
Yeah.
the trailer was fucking
That's
badass.
Sound-
I enjoyed that.
That's the thing. Falcom's sound team is
Yeah.
like the best out there. They make the most pumping, driving soundtracks that you'll ever hear in an action RPG. So I really, really enjoy that. If you guys haven't played East 8, that's another I recommend because the soundtrack is fucking
The
phenomenal.
soundtrack for Final Fantasy VII Remake was out of this
We're not
world.
talking about Final Fantasy
Yeah, it
VII.
was.
Oh, it was so good.
Talked about that. We've already talked about
I'm
that.
just dropping it in again because I played it last month and you were all talking about games from last month and it's the best game I played
We're,
last
go-
month.
we're about to do
I
the
said
Bug
we
Wire
would
remix
talk
here.
about that after we talked about the
Oh.
ones we were looking forward to.
John is a stickler for sticking to schedules.
I'm sticking it.
Someone
Yeah, look,
has
I'm
to
trying.
be.
This is my first time hosting a podcast with this many people, and I'm trying to stick to the fucking rules. And people are bragging about their massive TV, about Cloud's massive Buster Swords. I'm trying to keep it on topic here, so
But-
let's stick on topic.
Now, one thing you do get from the trailer, though, is most action RPGs, if you look at like Zelda and things like that, are rather deliberate with their combat. East throws all that shit to the wall with really fast and frenetic hack and slash combo based combat, which you don't really see in those games very often. It's very satisfying, especially swapping between characters and using their unique skills. It is a system that is really hard to put down. It's just so high energy, and it makes every boss fight so satisfying. If you have like a taste for old school games, and John, I know you as a fellow geezer do, and you like those kind of really timing based, pattern based boss battles of old, then you would really enjoy that because it definitely scratches that itch.
I might have to have a look.
You won't.
Maybe.
You won't.
I won't.
No, you won't. But you should.
No, I won't.
Great.
I might do. I don't know.
Well-
I've just got so many games.
I got an 86-inch television.
Yeah. John's the bag. John's the heel from this podcast. I think
It's
It's
the
just-
beard.
Everyone's talking about how
See,
excited.
when fucking Ted Cruz grew his beard, that punchable face got so much more pleasant. Still punchable.
Oh,
though.
yeah, like
But
Ted
see,
Cruz was a
John
great-
grows
was
the
a great
beard,
guy.
and he just becomes this like malevolent necromancer. Like it's crazy.
I mean, I'm being really negative about remakes, but like I do feel like I've got a point. It is bollocks, right?
All
I'm
right,
sorry.
so I agree with you to the extent of like, let's look at the recently announced Mafia remakes, and Mafia 2 just came out. It was a generation ago. Do we really fucking need that? And evidently
Yeah.
it's optimized so poorly that it's hard to even detect why they did this to begin with. That's the kind of shit that bothers me.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
I think there should be like a
with you.
15-year statute of limitations on remakes.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I mean, I think the Mafia remake for me. I mean, off topic again. Sorry, John. You're trying to like hurt cats here.
Have I told you about my TV?
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Look, I kind of felt like the Mafia remake was the remake the world never needed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, the original
well,
Mafia.
I
No, I'm
know
looking
about-
forward to that.
I
Mafia
don't know
2
about
was
that.
great.
Yeah, I'm
though. But I haven't played the original. I remember it wouldn't run on my 333 megahertz Celeron at the time.
I played all three of them. Here we go. My turn to talk now.
Back in my day.
If someone could call me when John's
played.
on, I'll be...
Fuck off. Unless you're worried about Mafia spoilers from like 18 years ago, then should be okay. I think the Mafia series, it was it did. They do have really good storylines, and I think the first game especially, especially the driving mechanics, it was a little bit unpolished. But then again, these are cars from the 1930s, so they're not going to handle brilliantly. But I do think it definitely, with a bit of spit and polish, the storyline shines through so much, because those games put so much attention to detail into really immersing you into their world, rather than just kind of dropping you in this sandbox. You do have to really play through the story, and that's what I really liked about this game. So
No,
I'm
and
looking
you know
forward
what?
to
I
it.
can, for anyone who bemoans the weighty driving, I think weighty is a good description of the Mafia series. These cars are giant freaking steel coffins, okay? Like, they handle like boats, and that's perfectly acceptable because it's so fucking satisfying when you ram into somebody with one of these gargantuan battering rams of a vehicle. Like in Mafia 3, that was one of my favorite things to do. Is just barrel at like 100 miles per hour down the road, hit a cop car, and just watch it tumble over several times, you know? You could really feel the impact of every hit, so I didn't mind that. I thought it made the crashes all the more satisfying.
Okay.
I think you convinced me.
I kind of prefer cars that handle well.
But I mean, you're talking about vehicles of the era, so I can, I can accept that. I don't want this agile little
late
you
60s.
I don't know what a
late
Model T
60s.
handles like.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, I'd accept it for like 1930s, but by the late 60s, I mean, I think cars are a little bit nicer.
A little
You
bit.
expect them to get a handle on it.
That's very good, John. That's very good. That's the kind of humour that won't get us demonetized. nice, wholesome, family-friendly humour.
I'm trying.
Keep it up.
Excuse me,
Keep
the
it
Bud
up.
Dwyer thing happened on television. If it was good enough for television, it's good enough for our podcast.
He didn't bloody announce. They didn't have warning beforehand. That was the
Surprise!
point. That was what was so fucked up about it.
All right.
That was the worst thing about it, is like he chose to do it like the time.
I thought it
like,
was mind-blowing
just after the kid.
television.
Fuck off. Like just after the kids had come home from school, when they were all watching it, they were like, "Yay, let's watch TV." That's the time he decided to do it. Oh dear. And that's why he's like a hero to 4chan. But anyway, less said about that, the better. Okay, so
We're on to the spoopy game.
What game we were even talking about? I've kind of forgotten.
We're talking about East.
How do we go from East to freaking talking about the
unless
handling of 1960s automobiles?
I know. I don't know how we got
you
to
just
that.
derailed
Anyway,
this whole entire thing.
me? Oh,
You're
fuck
like a
off.
yappy Pomeranian, John.
Are we going to look at the spoopy game then? Because that
Yes,
looks kind of
please.
cool.
Right. Okay. Right. Let's talk about. Okay.
Spoopy is the word.
Trying to control things here. Right. Okay. Let's all mute ourselves and watch the trailer for the spooky game.
So I didn't see any maids or scares.
It gave me
Right,
a big
okay.
start.
Dougie, run it
Okay,
down.
well, you are the maid in this, and it's so first person, that would be why you didn't see her. So it's I love stuff like this, so I'm just trying to put that into words. It's based. I think it's inspired by both British folklore and a novel from the Victorian times, which I haven't read. John can tell us about it later. And I'm so like blown away with this sort of folktale horror games where there doesn't have to be rules. It doesn't have to make sense. Like I hate walking away from a horror game, like particularly some sort of jump scare horror game, and thinking, well, that didn't make any sense. I could have just left at any time. And just being in this world where nothing makes sense. There's just these folklore stories of things that just they've been told through the ages. They don't make any sense now, and they're not going to make sense in a horror game. And so you just have to go through it, and it's like being scared, but like exciting being scared. Does that make sense?
Big thumbs up from me. First of all, Welsh language, trailer, very happy with that. The folklore aspect looked quite interesting as well. Original game, very interesting. Wales Interactive
Original
as well.
Game, you said.
Wales Interactive as well, done some pretty decent games as well.
Some very good horror games.
Yeah, so I'm interested, and the setting and the feel of it felt really interesting. So no, I'm.
Now, one thing I do appreciate about this game is the fact that Wales Interactive, up until now, has typically only really done full motion video titles. So seeing them work in a full 3D environment, which will presumably give you much more agency over your character, is pretty cool. And I think that that's really important with a horror game, is being able to actually feel like you're a part of the action going on, and not just, watching things unfold. So it'll be interesting to see how they pull that off, given, again, that they specialize in FMV titles. But I'm looking forward to finding out.
Yeah, no, me too. Considering the pedigree of the previous stuff they produced, I'm optimistic, and the trailer certainly impressed me as well. So no, I'm looking forward to it, and that's out in June, right?
They say it's supposed to be out in June, but I'm a little cynical because they haven't said when yet, and I think because there's only 1 week left in May, I feel. Like I was optimistic maybe 2 weeks ago that it was going to be out in June, and now they still haven't said a date. So I know this might be something we're talking about next month as well. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see if the play gets impacted.
John could just copy and paste this entire segment. Complete with
brilliant.
The 10-minute segue saves the effort, doesn't it?
You can do anything with editing. It's great. Yeah.
Saves him an effort.
Okay, guys. Well, that has been our top 5 games we are looking forward to in June 2020. Okay, guys, if there's anything you want to plug, anything you want to give a shout out to, anything you want to talk about really quickly, now is the time.
Give me turnips.
I wish you guys could see John's beard. It's so malevolent.
Maybe next time we'll make it a video.
Yeah, it's not even that bad. It's not even that bad. I grew it out.
Yeah, seriously, guys, you gotta see it. I think it's alive.
It's just.
All right, I could edit in a picture if you kind of
give me the official
give me some
mascot of the
pics.
podcast.
It's literally just stubble.
Brilliant. Okay. Anyone else want to any kind of little shout outs or anything they want to say before we wrap it up?
No, I'm pretty good.
All right. Okay, guys, that has been our top 5 games we're looking forward to in June 2020. As always, stay safe, stay alert, and we'll see you next time.
All right,
bye,
see you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Try to sound a bit more excited, John.
Sorry.
You miserable git.
Bye.
Ba-ba-da-ba. Well, that about wraps it up for the first episode of the revamped Hey Paul podcast. If you enjoyed this, be sure to follow our website and all our social media. You'd better do it, else Francis will butt Dwyer himself with his light gun. See you later, guys.